Week 1 of the NFL wasn't just about football, it was about culture. Brands showed up in a big way, from streaming to sneakers to everything in between. Today, I'm going to break down what stood out and why. But before we get into all that, I'm Derek, the marketing point guard, and welcome to my channel. On this page, I like to break down case studies of things happening in real time and pulling in historical references to help you understand the brand plays that win in culture and to help you better build your own brands. Let's get into it. So, first up, the theme I feel like that I was seeing with the NFL first weekend was the crossover. And even though it's about football, as the marketing point guard, I love a good crossover on the court and in marketing. So I feel like we got a lot of great examples of that. And so I'm going to break them down each one by one. The first one being Gunna and Under Armour. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, Young Thug has been going viral daily for his phone calls that have been leaking from his time in prison, all the rat allegations, you name it. He's doing it all, and he's talking so much. Then he goes and does an interview to try to clean it all up. But the beauty of it is you kind of get Gunna and Thug in complete juxtaposition, right? You see how Thug has moved since he's been released and how Gunna has moved. And he has just put it all into the music. A couple tweets here and there, nothing serious, but he's really just been performing, producing music that connects with people, and his lifestyle has changed completely since coming out. And you see that in his health and fitness journey. And so now you have Under Armour, who has lost a lot of their cultural cachet over the years, right? You have a moment to kind of pair these two together. And that first comes to life with their We Are Football ad that launches right before the first games kick off. You got Justin Jefferson, you have Cam Ward, you have a lot of their other signature marquee athletes in the mix, but Gunna is the central piece to that. And they use his song in the campaign and just build this world, right? So that crossover works perfectly. But it's not just about Gunna authentically playing in Under Armour's world. Under Armour then doubles down and goes into Gunna's world. And for the first time ever at the VMAs, they have a halftime performance. But it's just a fun way of branding that performance with UA's involvement to now get them into Gunna's world. So he gets to perform on the VMA stage, do a halftime show, that connects to football. So you just get all these synergies and all these connections back and forth. And what you ultimately get is a cohesive partnership that feels authentic, that's rooted and culturally grounded, and it connects with people. You could just try to slap two names together and get anybody to voice over a spot. But when those connections matter, right? We kind of talked about this in the previous video with Tyler, the Creator, right? When you get that perfect match with your product and there's already an implied alignment, that's when the connections come. That's when you get that cultural capital that you can pull on. And now Under Armour's in a good spot. They're supporting Gunna as he's still on his rise. He's got his 5K. He's got all these other kind of fitness verticals and vehicles that he can start to implement and develop and grow. And now I'm sure Under Armour has first right of refusal and to be a part of those things and to build out these narratives. And that is what a great partnership is all about. So love seeing that for Gunna. Love seeing all that come together, and looking forward to the next steps they make, because the other key to a great partnership is to not just do it one-off. You may have a campaign and that may come to an end, but if you are able to extend that partnership, extend that narrative across, right? We already got 2 touch points. We got the ad, we got the VMA performance. If we get like an experiential moment or we get some product from this, like now we're starting to build a world around this partnership where Gunna and UA can create a lasting collaboration that benefits both parties. So I love seeing that kick off and looking forward to seeing where they go with those things. And another dope crossover that we see. I mean, I've talked about it probably a lot on this channel, but to believe that Anthony Edwards, the AE1s in general, has just been my favorite marketing moment probably in the last 5 years. And although they started to tease Believe That too, there's still so much equity in that AE1. And they pulled on that at the start of football season, bringing in Travis Hunter, who they are positioning as their next big star, right? You know, number 2 pick, all-world talent, playing both sides of the field. It makes sense to put energy and effort into him as well. And so we get Anthony Edwards, you get Travis Hunter, you get a great spot. And it's a new campaign that they're starting to build out with Travis. This was episode 2, and it was called Leave a Message. And Anthony Edwards basically gives him a call while he's fishing, and in true Anthony Edwards fashion, kind of ribs him about being a country boy and fishing and all that, but leaves him a surprise, which ends up being the AE1 cleat, the official AE1 cleat. We've seen some mocks and people doing their own thing before, but this is the first official cleat that Travis Hunter is going to debut in his first game with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So again, a nice crossover moment. Basketball meets football, athletics, 2 worlds that collide. Your big star in one vertical meeting your hopefully big star in the next one and joining it together through a product fusion. It's genius and masterful stuff. So Adidas, man, they haven't really been missing lately. Honestly, they've been on one. So I'm curious to see how this continues to build out. They also got Trevor Lawrence. They did a fun spot around the opener too, but he's not as marketable. Travis Hunter is where the gold is, and they knew that, and they doubled down accordingly. So I love to see how that continues and what the next steps are for Adidas and Anthony Edwards and Travis Hunter. Let's go on to the next one. So kind of going in the same vein of what we talked about last video with Tyler, the Creator, Gatorade has been on a complete flex to open the football season, right? They had a lot of great stunts in spots. You know, they alluded to DMing all their players, which is just a good way for them to show off how deep their roster is, kind of congratulate them before the season. They did a kind of one-off social tease about Josh Allen facing off against Lamar Jackson, which turned into an instant classic game. And again, they got both of those athletes, so kudos to them again for being in the right positions. But the hero moment of the weekend was their new star that they got into the fold, Kendrick Lamar, right? He's hot as fish grease. Even if he doesn't drop music, the mere mention of his name and some of them allegations had him trending last week. He didn't say a word. So you got Kendrick is piping hot right now. Also just won an Emmy and a VMA this weekend. Like, couldn't be hotter, and you have him in your fold. So smartly, you want to have that continuity. You don't want to just do this one-off around the Super Bowl and that's kind of it. So they've now leveraged his voiceovers across multiple moments, and it's a nice way to bridge the gap from last season to this season. So you have the Super Bowl kind of infused spot with Kendrick that kicked off around the Final Four in the NCAA tournament, and now you have it again kicking off at football season, and you bring in Cooper Flagg. So even though like the sports in the moments are kind of blending into each other, it's still just allowing them to exist as the hero of all of these moments, which Gatorade has done a masterful job of ever since they kind of been introduced to the market and teamed up with MJ back in the day for the Be Like Mike. So they've just been hitting those beats. It has been dope to see, you know, Kendrick in this new light, but again, it's still authentic. You know, Kendrick talked about whacked out murals. He's running 6 miles a day to condition his win. Oh no, that's I Deserve It All. You know, he's running 6 miles a day to condition his win. He's an athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go try to run 6 miles and let me know how that goes for you. So he's proven to be an athlete, whether he's, you know, working out in random parks in LA or doing pull-ups on the scaffolding in Harlem. Like, he's kind of tapped into his athleticism in a real authentic way. So that connection isn't so forced, you know, like they're not partnering with somebody who may have got their abs done. You know what I'm saying? So you love to see the authentic connection, and that's why it works. So you pairing a world-class artist who takes his health and athleticism seriously with world-class athletes, and your product is fueling all of that. You know, that's how you get the is it in you, right? You see how those dots just connect, and to you, it may be like, duh, but this was something that has been very thoroughly thought out, planned, and executed, right? Like, you don't get to these aha moments by happenstance. You have to be intentional about who you select and why, because then the moments fall flat and it's a waste of money. So shout out to Gatorade for making the right plays on this one. And we'll see what's next, man. And hopefully some new music from Kendrick soon. NBA season is coming around the corner. Like, I see this partnership kind of continuing to grow and extend into different vehicles and different kind of elements. And the final crossover of the week. So this one was, the NFL. The NFL is, I feel like they're pinky in the brain. They're just trying to figure out how to take over the world. And it's interesting because it's a sport that is very regional in a sense. We're on a global scale, right? Like, where soccer and basketball have global appeal and followings. The football we play in America, U.S. football, American football, is very unique to us only. And so them in their global dominance started doing the international games. Kansas City just played the Chargers in Brazil. They're going to do the London and Germany games that they've been doing kind of annually, continuously. But this opportunity on a broadcast scale with YouTube was a huge crossover, right? They put that Friday night game that was in Brazil and they broadcast it live on YouTube, open for all. Like, that is, YouTube paid a lot of money for it because the NBA, they not gonna miss a check. But that was just something new they're trying to get in. In doing that crossover broadcast, it's similar, like you see the seeds of these things and how they start to grow, right? You see the Nickelodeon broadcast where they bring in the cartoons and the talent. Now you see YouTube broadcast. They bringing in MrBeast and football influencers like Deestroying and allowing them to share your platform and evangelize the game in a way that's stamped by the NFL and the Shield. Like, that just puts everybody, that raises the standards of everybody, right? So when you have these big moments and these big broadcast moments and you're able to cross over and bring in these new voices, that's bringing an audience. MrBeast probably has, I can't even remember what his number is. He's like at 400 something million subscribers, which is insane. Like, damn near everybody who has YouTube follows MrBeast. So like, when you get that level of push from a new platform and their biggest star is aligning with the NFL, you start to see why those plays matter. And even though the game wasn't that great, they did some great ratings still. And just be on the lookout for that more coming down the line from the NFL. Like, it's kind of hard to figure out where the games are, and it's going to be a similar challenge with the NBA this season. But by doing this, they're able to reach new audiences, expand their messaging, and just more opportunities, right? Like, you can enjoy the game in different ways, is which I'm going to appreciate. There's not just one straight way to do it. Like, you may like the traditional broadcast. You may like, they start doing these celebrity casts, like the Manning cast, and like Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird. We're doing it for WNBA games and things like that. So there's all these different ways to engage with the game, and it's smart because you don't want to get left behind. The world is moving. People, look at SportsCenter. Everybody used to be locked in at 6 o'clock to watch the top 10 heading into the night's games. And you follow that, the 11 p.m. SportsCenter was prime time. Now we all watch highlights on our phone right after the game, in between game. We're live tweeting on Twitter. So like, these things are changing rapidly. So it's important to kind of cross over and see how you can engage in those spaces and how you can grow your brand and stay ahead of the curve, because, you don't want to get left behind. And one thing the NFL does is they bring live viewers, man. Sports in general, but the NFL specifically, is keeping live watching. They're literally holding it on their back, and they're like strong with it too. Like, they are dominating the live viewership game. So that is power. There's not a lot of things we do communally anymore, and the NFL games are that. And so to be able to leverage that to try and not just being so stuck in the fact of who you are, that's the cool part, because they can just go to ABC, NBC, Fox, but hey, we're the NFL, give us more money, we're driving all your ratings, look at us as a loss leader, pay us what you owe us, but we'll funnel viewers into your ancillary programming after, but we need our bag. And they do that too, don't get me wrong. I'm not acting like the NFL is doing this out of the goodness of their heart, but it is dope to see them forge this new ground and try new things, because it's inevitable. So you better get on board or get left behind. And the NFL is not looking to get left behind. So this was a great crossover from the week. So yeah, I think that's really what I got for today. Let me know which crossovers you guys liked. Like I said, we talked about Gunna and Under Armour, talked about Kendrick and Gatorade, talked about Adidas crossing over with Anthony Edwards and Travis Hunter across sports, and then the NFL broadcasting on YouTube, which is bringing a whole new energy. So let me know how you feel. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite one. If you made it this far, how about you drop me a 1 in the chat at least? I'm trying to get that engagement going. Like and subscribe and all the things you do to help the channels grow. I appreciate you. Like I said, this isn't a one-way conversation, so talk back to me. I'll see y'all in the comments, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.